First Leaf is a wine box subscription service. Each month, customers receive a selection of wine tailored to their preferences. You can join First Leaf to enjoy fantastic personalized wines just for you. Getting started with First Leaf is a breeze to get started. You just have to answer a few quick questions about your wine preferences on their site, and they will put together an amazing assortment of top-notch wines just for you, and it gets delivered right to your door. Well, I love First Leaf because no longer am I lugging those heavy bottles of wine from the grocery store to home. And plus, as a label snob, I no longer am picking out wines just for the pretty little labels. I actually get to pretend I know something about wines because they also will help you give a little information about the wines that you're drinking.
I just love wine because I love wine. And the fact that this comes to my door makes it that much more convenient. All of my selections, I love a good rosé. I love a good cab. I've discovered so many new wines thanks to First Leaf.
First Leaf is great at picking out wines based on your preferences. They're also great for finding special occasion wines. If you ever need extra bottles, you can easily add more to your club orders. They literally have such an amazing selection. If you are tired of just drinking the same old bottles and you want to get a variety in your life, First Leaf will help you with that. It's great for entertaining. It's great for enjoying a nice glass of wine. It's great for everything. Make every cozy night in special with wines from First Leaf that you know you'll love. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL to sign up, and you'll get your first 6 hand-picked bottles for just $44.95. That's tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL, tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL. That is tryfirstleaf.com/VIALL. Article is an online company that sells modern furniture and decor directly to consumers. Being only online, Article cuts out the middleman and passes the savings along to you. So many great reasons to shop at Article. They have their mid-century modern, coastal, industrial, Scandi, and boho designs. Their customer care team is amazing. We love Article. We have some great outdoor pieces from Article. Absolutely stunning. We've had couches. We constantly get complimented on them. We have some lounge chairs, and we have some high class. They kind of look like beanbags, but they're amazing. Everyone loves them. We got them from Article. They have couches. Every room in the house can be upgraded with the help of Article. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/VIALL, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/VIALL for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.
You're crazy.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Fiona. I'm 27 years old, and my brother's pregnant ex-girlfriend blocked me and my whole family.
Okay. Blocked you or blocked your brother too?
Oh, blocked him too.
Oh, okay. And they're not together?
They are not together, no. They were barely together. They were together for 2 months, very brief.
And they just happened to get pregnant, or she got pregnant?
Well, that is, according to her, it is his. According to us, the chances are it is not.
So your brother doesn't believe it's his?
No. Well, so the story goes, they were together for 2 months. For context, my brother was a virgin before he met her. So he waited a long time. He's 24 years old and basically wanted to wait until he was with the right girl to lose his virginity. So this was his first girlfriend. They were together for 2 months. They hooked up a handful of times. He says about 10 times. And he never climaxed with her. So she seems to be convinced that it's his.
Did he wear protection?
They did not wear protection. She asked him not to. So that, along with the timelines, are not adding up. So she reached out to him on September 20th to say, look, I'm pregnant. It's yours. I'm keeping it. That's that. He freaked out, was very shocked, was just confused about the whole thing. She said she was 6 weeks pregnant, which would have made her we looked up this because we had no idea how they calculate how long people are pregnant. But according to all of our research, if you're 6 weeks pregnant on September 20th, it would make your last period August 9th is essentially how the 6 weeks comes. It's calculated from the first day of your last period. Again, what we read. And the last time they hooked up was July 28th. So the timelines aren't adding up. There's rumors that she had hooked up with other people. So we're not sure what to believe.
Okay. Well, just note, she could also be lying about the 6 weeks.
Very much, yeah.
Whew, what a pickle.
Yeah.
Let's hope
Yeah.
that this ends up being nothing more than a real tough lesson is why your brother should wear protection and practice safe sex and enforce that boundary even when his potential partner asks him not to, because even men have the right to enforce boundaries
Absolutely.
in bed. So let's hope that. Boy, what a tough situation. And why it's tough is because obviously the emotional distress your brother must be feeling is like, I'm assuming your brother wants to know if he is in fact a father.
Yeah,
Just
pretty much.
one way or the other, right? It's just like, hey, just like whatever you guys believe.
Yes, he was very much willing to be involved in the beginning. Obviously, we weren't originally blocked by her. She was very much wanting him to be involved.
So when did the blocking happen?
So right when we first found out, we didn't really talk to her for about a weekend. We were all just like trying to wrap our heads around it, trying to come together, figure out what we're going to do. But once he had a couple days to process, he was like, okay, I want to be involved with as much as I can. I want to get on the same page. Like, we're going to be in this together. So I'd love to, have some sort of friendship with her going forward. So he met up with her after a few days. Everything went well. They cried together. They talked about how stressed they were. They came together as a unit and everything seemed good. So all of that was pretty much secured until the following day when she reached out to him again and basically asked him to come over. He said, I just got home from work. I'm talking with my parents. My parents are emotional, so we're just talking things out. And she said, well, you're not being here for me and your baby, so come over immediately. He panicked, naturally, didn't want to be that guy, wanted to just do whatever he could. So he went over there and she sort of threw a tantrum, cried, freaked out. She told him she wished she never involved him. She was throwing out insane accusations, like first said he was being a deadbeat dad, even though we just found out. She accused him and I of sleeping together, me and my brother. She said rude things about me posting sexy pictures on Instagram. She threatened to kill herself, threatened to smoke cigarettes. So she had a big, essentially, mental break of sorts. And then following that day, blocked us and said, I wish I never told you.
Wow. So let's go back to the I guess evidence. So your brother last had sex with her when?
July 28th.
And then at what date she said she was what?
She said on September 20th that she was 6 weeks pregnant.
That would put her at what, early August?
Yes.
Well, July 28th and early August are just a few days apart.
Yeah, it's not super off. Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of pretty on.
It's close. Yeah.
Yeah. And your brother is convinced he didn't climax like at all?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Gotta say, pretty impressed for a virgin.
I know. Well, the only reason I know this is because the whole time they were even together, he was coming to me like, ask your friends, like, is this normal? Have they ever experienced this? And
is what normal?
Like not being able to finish, essentially. So it was an issue in their relationship that he couldn't climax.
Performance anxiety.
Yeah. That's kind of what I told him. I mean, obviously I don't know for sure, but.
Damn. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to
I know.
do. I don't know, because I don't know what is. All he is at this point is the alleged father.
Yeah.
I don't know what rights he has.
Basically none. We reached out to a lawyer and we asked them the same question, and it was essentially nothing. Like, if she doesn't want to do a paternity test, then we don't have any rights until the baby's born and we can confirm that it's his.
But when the baby is born, what rights would he have potentially?
Not 100% sure because we're not there yet. But if we are able to confirm that it's his, then we could obviously go to court for some sort of custody.
How long ago did she block him?
That was about a month ago, I want to say. 3 weeks.
A month ago. Okay, a month ago. Wow. And since then, what attempts has your brother made, if any, to reconnect?
Nothing, really. We tried in the beginning and obviously we're blocked, so there's not much.
Do you even know if she's still pregnant?
Right. Yeah. Well, we don't. She very well might not be still pregnant. We don't know.
Unfortunately, I think it's just kind of a wait and see thing.
Yeah.
Which is not, not a great plan, but we all know that obviously women can still get pregnant if a man didn't actually climax. They had unprotected sex. It only takes one. And while he may not have climaxed, it's definitely possible that she's pregnant. When you said you heard rumors that she had been hooking up with other people.
It was sort of a thing in their relationship. There was one time where she got a couple texts from somebody else, and then the timelines are just not adding up. So she seems very sure, but we're sort of wondering if, since they were broken up, if there was someone else or not.
What do you guys know about her support system, her family, her friends?
It's not great from what we know. I mean, her parents, according to her, are supportive, but from what...
Do you know if they come from money?
They don't.
I think maybe the fact that she blocked you guys a month ago, and you haven't heard anything is maybe a good sign.
Right. That's true.
But you're describing an unhinged person. She accused you guys of incest. That's pretty crazy. And then for her to block you, it's not crazy to block someone and not hear from them, right? Yeah. So she went from being completely crazy to almost not.
Right. Yeah.
And the only thing that maybe, she could have easily lost it in a miscarriage.
Right.
She may have chosen not to keep it. And the fact that she hasn't reached out at all tells me, I think that's a good sign for your brother.
Right. Yeah.
Because like, you don't go from, hey, I'm pregnant, you're the father, let's get together, cry about it. The next day, accusing him of being a deadbeat dad, accusing him of not doing enough. Then like, I wish I would have never included you. Because why? Because that doesn't really add up. Then she blocks. Blocking everyone is almost like kind of, to me in this situation, wishing that like she really wants no one to like pay attention to what she's doing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Which like, what is she hiding kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe hiding something, and maybe the hiding is this like the embarrassment of, something. It just seems like something's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is all speculation. And obviously, if I'm your brother, it'd be very difficult to just let it go and ignore it. I think all you guys can do, specifically your brother, is just say, hey, listen, this is not ideal. Your brother knows what he'd be willing to do if he was given the opportunity to be by her side. He would be there, which is good, because that would be a responsibility he should fulfill. He needs to respect her boundary, I guess, at this point. Obviously, being a new dad, there were certainly enjoyable moments as a new dad while Natalie was pregnant. Most of that enjoyment came from me supporting my partner, right? But, obviously it was very cool to feel river kick and things like that. But there's not a ton of excitement for the dad while mom's pregnant, so to speak. Right. So it's not to say that he wouldn't be missing out, but I think he doesn't have to, make himself feel worse by saying, oh, well, I can't be there. And, I'm really missing out. It's like, I don't know. Objectively, I don't know how much he is missing out. Yeah. So I know this is easier said than done, but like, I think maybe he just tells himself, listen, I don't know what she is. There's a good chance I'm not the father. There's a good chance she's no longer pregnant. But if I'm wrong and she is pregnant and I end up being the father, once she has this baby, you guys will you'll find out. You'll know, right? You might all be blocked. Is her account private?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And do you guys have any mutuals?
Yeah, we like went to elementary school together, so they have like lots of mutual friends.
Yeah, and you could probably create an account pretending to be someone else.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could pretend to be a hot guy or whatever who follows her, and then she approves. You can, I don't know. You could honestly like.
Yeah.
You could, just to figure it out. So my point is, you'll find out if she is in fact pregnant, sooner than later, because if she's posting her life and then clearly nothing shows up, she's probably not pregnant. Obviously, if her body changes, you'll know that she is. And then when she has the baby, if she has the baby, there's a good chance that this child will strongly resemble the father. I think a lot of firstborns tend to look like dad. For biological purposes, it seems like, but who knows? If there is some resemblance, then that you guys will be more motivated to, exercise whatever rights that you have to take a paternity test so that your brother could be a father to his child. But other than that, I guess it's just kind of wait and see.
Yeah, at this point, there's not much we can do. Obviously, we feel like, if she's blocked us, we don't want to like do anything extreme to reach out. We're just sort of figuring out how to mentally process.
Your brother's 24?
Yeah.
Listen, obviously not an ideal situation, but there's definitely a possibility for a silver lining.
Yeah.
If your brother kind of approaches the next 9 months as I might be a father, and if he takes that seriously, there's a good chance that he's going to, hopefully, make healthy decisions, that he's investing in himself. It's just like, hey, I might be a father in 9 months. Like, what would someone do if they're going to be a father in 9 months? Maybe he will set himself up for the future, whatever it is, right? He can just like kind of stay focused at work, make sure that he's making healthy decisions for himself. And like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't need to date all that much in the next 9 months. He's only 24.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a weird conversation. Hey, by the way, third date. I may or may not be a father. I don't know. It's a crazy story. Certainly comes, for the next 9 months at least, he's got some baggage, and that baggage is I might be a father.
Right. Yeah.
But like I said, if she's still not pregnant, and I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. You will find out sooner than later.
Yeah, she's not a big poster, so I don't know if we'll see anything beforehand, but you never know.
Are you guys like in the same town? Like you do have some mutual friends?
Yes, yeah.
And have you talked to these mutual friends?
I haven't. Like, I don't live in the town where they live. They live in like the town we grew up in. But from what I have heard, he hasn't heard much from anyone. They don't have like close mutual friends, but they have friends that like run in the same circles. So no one's told him anything, but it's very possible they're keeping it a secret from her as well. So
my gut tells me she's not pregnant anymore.
Yeah, I could very well see that, considering how hard she was on him in the beginning. To just block and ghost essentially seems very odd.
And how did your brother say he reacted in real time to this episode?
From the way he told it to me was that he was trying to calm her down, that he was trying to, they ended up at the end of that night sort of calmed down. So it seems like he stayed there until she was in a better headspace. He like drove her somewhere, dropped her off. Everything seemed like it had sort of patched up at the end of the night. And then he was shocked to get the I wish I never involved you, I'm blocking you message.
I think there's like a 80% chance she either isn't pregnant or he's not the father.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking as well. And we like going back to earlier, like she doesn't have as strong of a support system as he does. Like he has a good job, a well-paying job, good parents that we're well off enough, like good support system emotionally. So
that's what I'm saying. It's just like assuming your brother didn't say or do anything that made her not want your brother around, or
exactly, yeah.
Then she would have eventually calmed down and probably thought, why am I throwing away this help?
Exactly, yeah.
Something's not adding up there. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Other than that, I think just be there for your brother. I think it's kind of like we've done everything we can at this point. You guys even reached out to a lawyer, maybe try to check in. I think maybe he could talk to whatever mutual friends you have and just say, hey, like, do you know if have you heard anything like this? Like, that means that like she hasn't told anyone about this. So like she's pregnant and no one knows. I don't know.
Right. I think from what I know, she's pregnant and her close friends know. But I don't know if she's like going around like bragging around town, especially.
What do you mean by that? So what have you heard?
Well, from what my brother told me, he was saying things like, oh, well, my best friend told her this. Like her best friend also has a child, so was giving her advice. She had told my brother to reach out to this friend, to get advice on being a new father. This is
before he got blocked.
This was before he got blocked, yeah. So it seems like her like best friend who also has a kid is aware, but yeah, considering the circumstances where
I don't doubt that she took a pregnancy test and found out she was pregnant.
Yes. Yeah.
But other than that, you're not aware of any other conversations with any people in her community that verifies that she's still pregnant?
Correct, yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Keep us posted, please.
Of course, I will.
Yeah, and I think you guys can just keep an eye on her, so to speak, from afar.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should be paying attention.
If your brother has access to her friends or these people, like, yeah, if nothing else, your brother should reach out to this friend and be like, hey, last time I heard from her, she told me I was the father, then blocked me, and then said she wished she didn't include me. So to be honest, like, I was surprised to find out that I was the father because I never climaxed. I know it's still possible she could have gotten pregnant, but like, I just want to know if I'm going to be a dad in 8 months. And like, have you heard anything? Did she change her mind? Did something happen? Did she lose the baby? Like, someone's got to know something.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And if no one knows anything, then
that's even weirder. Yeah.
Well, it just means either she decided not to keep it or lost the baby and decided to stop telling people. You know,
Right.
maybe she might have freaked out and said, I can't do this. What am I doing? We're not together. You know, and maybe maybe she decided not to keep it and then decided, you know what? I'm not going to tell a lot of people about this because if she decided not to keep it, I imagine it would be a very emotional and challenging experience for her. And maybe she doesn't want to talk about it. Maybe she's not comfortable with that, which would be completely understandable. But if she is pregnant, someone, and she's already told a best friend, it seems like someone would know. Your brother afraid to have sex again?
Yeah, very much. Yes,
Yeah.
Very much so.
Why did she ask him not to wear a condom?
That is what she told him she wanted. That's how she likes it, apparently. She assured him that if something were to happen, she would get an abortion. Obviously, he absolutely should have set that boundary and should never been doing that. But like, I understand.
Well, also like even
girlfriend, but
that's also just like your brother needs to understand that like that's a promise someone might not be able to keep.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How do you know until you're?
She has the right to change her mind. She has the right to not to have a very different. That's something you say in the heat of the moment just to get what you want. You're not right because you're thinking it will never happen. You know. Also, by the way, that shouldn't like put your brother at ease. It's like, oh, well, you'll get an abortion, as if like
exactly
whatever you think about abortion, like it's a very emotional. It's not a nothing thing.
Exactly. You wouldn't know until you're in the moment how you would actually feel about it.
I don't know a lot of people who have had them, but the people I do know who have had them, it was an emotional time for them. It was a challenge. It was a lot, and so next time, your brother should, maybe this is a lesson for him to have empathy around that. And if someone in the future says, well, I'll just have an abortion, that shouldn't put his mind at ease.
Yeah.
We all know condoms aren't super fun, but this is a lot less fun. Getting pregnant with
very much.
Complete stranger. Also, there's STDs out there. Please just keep us posted, really. Sorry I couldn't be more help other than, just more honest. My real advice is just to be there for your brother. He needs to be able to live his life. The worst thing is he's just like for the next 8 months, he's like in this emotional purgatory, wondering if he's going to be a dad. So he needs to let it go. And honestly, like you should almost be like, listen, I will do some digging. I will keep an eye on her. Go live your life.
Yeah. Okay.
What a doozy.
It's stressful.
That incest comment is.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. My gut tells me he's not going to be the father. Well, thank you for the call. Please keep us posted. All right.
Yes, I will. I promise.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. The Viall Files is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online counseling platform that offers therapy services through phone, video, live chat, and online messaging. BetterHelp's goal is to make therapy more accessible and effective for people who need help with their mental health. And that's what I really am drawn to when it comes to BetterHelp. They make it just easier to get started because there's this kind of barrier in terms of people jumping into mental health. We still haven't normalized predicting your mental health, which is just quite the same as like going to the gym or, making sure that you're up to date with your dental care. Your mental health is just as important, but, obviously it can be expensive. It can be inconvenient. It can be hard to find a good therapist, and BetterHelp, it helps you with all of those things. It's more affordable than in-person therapy. It's incredibly convenient. You do it from your phone, your computer, as long as you have a screen or a phone, you can get the therapy that you prefer. And because they're working with so many new therapists every day, it helps ensure that you can find a therapist that matches your preferences. You got to feel comfortable and safe and want to open up. Not every therapist is made for you. And so they make it really easy to try out some therapists until you feel like someone is affecting and benefiting your mental health. Find comfort this December. The holiday seasons can be great. They also can be a blues. And if the holiday blues are affecting you, a great time to jump into therapy would be right now with the help of BetterHelp. Find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/VIALL today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/VIALL. Article is an online furniture company that sells modern furniture and decor directly to consumers. Being online only, Article cuts out the middleman and passes the savings on to you. Article believes in delightful design for every home, and thanks to their online only model, they have some really delightful prices too. Their curated assortment of mid-century modern, coastal, industrial, Scandi, and boho designs makes furniture shopping simple. Now and I have some amazing outdoor pieces from Article. We absolutely love them. We constantly get complimented on them. We have some lounge chairs, and we have some like high class. They kind of look like beanbags, but they're amazing. Everyone loves them. We got them from Article. They have couches. Every room in the house can be upgraded with the help of Article. And plus, again, they cut out the middleman and pass the savings along to you. Plus, they make the whole shopping experience super easy and convenient. If by some miracle, you're not obsessed with your Article piece, you need to exchange it or return it, whatever, super easy and super convenient with their customer care team. Article is offering our listeners $50 off their first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/VIALL, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/VIALL for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Holly, age 36. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How can we help, Holly?
I have been dating a guy for 4 months, and he wants to go back on the dating apps to sell insurance.
Right. When did he approach you with this proposition?
He told me about going back on the apps about a month ago.
How did he have that conversation with you?
Yeah, that's kind of exactly how it went. It's we'd kind of hit that like 3-month honeymoon phase is over kind of mark. Like, what are we doing here? And that was when he approached me with an incentive that he got from his boss to, if he sells a certain number of insurance policies, as he's an insurance salesman, that she would offer a bonus. And in order to network, he wanted to go back on the dating apps to meet girls to sell them insurance policies.
What kind of insurance does he sell?
He's a property and casualty agent and life and health as well. So it's personal auto and life and health is what he's selling.
Well, and is that the only way to sell insurance?
Evidently so. Evidently there is no other way to make commission through insurance except
No,
to go.
I mean, like obviously this is ridiculous. So like, why are you even entertaining it?
Yeah, that's my question: is why am I even entertaining this? The
No,
gaslighting
but I'm
here.
asking you. Yeah, I'm asking you.
The gaslighting here is unreal. Like, I know I'm being gaslit for sure.
Okay.
Because the way that he explains it, he like makes it sound so believable that like he knows that people have done this before and he knows it works. And his reference is his boss. His boss is the one who gave the staff this idea because that is what she did. And that is how she got started. And now she owns her own office. So she said that.
Well, let's assume that's all true. She's a woman and men are more gullible than women. And so it is more believable that a woman would go on dating apps and have some kind of success, maybe selling insurance. How attractive is his boss?
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty. Yeah.
She is? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's still unbelievable, but like, even if that is believable, he's not her. And I think most women would find it really creepy to be sold in anything on a dating app. But regardless of what his boss suggested, like you're not required to say yes to this. So
Right.
back to my original question, why are you even entertaining this? Like, why are you entertaining something crazy? If you know you're being gaslit, then you're kind of not being gaslit. You know?
Touche.
It's like,
Mhm.
why are you entertaining it?
I think a lot of it is that, like, okay, I'm in my mid-30s now, right? So, like,
Sure.
the clock is ticking. Finding people is really hard. And this has been, like, the first potential suitor in, I'm going to be real, like, years, right? And up until a month ago when we had this conversation, it seemed like everything was going really well. And even since we've had this conversation, like, nothing has really changed except now he's back on the dating apps.
So he is
Just
on the dating apps.
he matched with my roommate a couple of days ago.
Gotcha. Well, you have to acknowledge that when you say nothing's changed, part of the reason why nothing's changed is because you've gone along with this.
Right. Yeah, I'm allowing it.
So listen, like I get it. I understand you're in a dating slump. I understand, being a 38-year-old woman, you have things to consider that men don't in terms of their biological clock. Nevertheless, you're not going to get to where you want to go by accepting less than you know you deserve. You're not going to get people to respect your boundaries by not enforcing your boundaries. And
Mhm.
if you're not comfortable with your boyfriend being on dating apps for whatever reason, you have a right to say so. 3 months isn't a great deal of time. I understand that you had a nice little honeymoon phase, but maybe you need to readjust the type of men you're investing in. Like you can clearly get a boyfriend. So you not getting a boyfriend is a choice that you're making, which is fine. You have higher standards. You're not going to date anyone. I understand that, but like you're not single because no one will date you. Do you believe that? I know it's true. I don't know if you believe that, but like, no, I'm not saying you can get anyone you want because no one can,
Mhm.
but you know what I'm saying? So like, but you're not going to get to where you want to go by accepting this type of behavior and then making concessions. You barely know anything about this guy. So whatever you know about this guy is either based off of his, physical appearance, how he is in bed, and what he has decided to show you. And two of those things is physical appearance and how he is in bed. I'm assuming you guys are sleeping together.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously those are, you have eyes, so you can see how he looks, and you can decide pretty quickly if you enjoy being intimate with someone. Sounds like I'm guessing you do enjoy it,
Right.
right? Which can be very, especially to women, just from a biological standpoint, from what, I'm not a doctor, but from what I understand is that like sex can be very confusing for both parties, but especially women because, chemically it affects women generally different than men. And so it can make you emotionally attached to people that quite frankly you know nothing about, and since you're emotionally connected to this person via sex, it's harder for you to enforce your boundaries. Nevertheless, you still have to learn to do that because like the fact that he's been on the dating apps for a month and you can say nothing's really changed is kind of nuts.
When I say like nothing has changed, I mean like the day to day, right? So like we still
That's what I mean. Yeah, but you're going along with it. You know what I'm saying? You are choosing to allow this to happen.
Mhm. Right.
But like you're not willing to say no because you're not willing to lose him.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is setting this this is a crazy thing he's getting away with. If I'm him, I think I can get away with pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah. Right. Because I'm allowing it.
Correct. Yeah. Again, I understand you haven't liked someone in a while, and I understand you're 38, but that's still not a reason to allow this type of behavior or to make these types of choices for yourself.
I think what makes it confusing for me is that like when we discussed this a couple of days ago, because like I said, he popped up as a match for my roommate. And she was like, hey, let me just like, what do you think I should do? Should I like swipe back? Should I like his photo just to kind of get it started? She was like, let's just kind of mess with him and see if he doesn't recognize me, right? And if we can get him to meet up. But he recognized her immediately. And like literally as she was telling me this, like I was walking out the door to go see him. um, and he brought it up like pretty much immediately with me like arriving to see him. And the way he explains it like makes me just frankly like so confused because he was like, I hate that this is called a dating app because that's not what I'm using it for. He's like,
Doesn't matter. I don't. Yeah, it's just, and again, like you shouldn't be entertaining this. You are. It's just like, listen, it is called a dating app. One, it's just creepy. It's creepy to be on there soliciting his business when women or people
Mhm,
are going on there with the expectations of meeting people serious about dating.
mhm,
So he is matching with people under false pretenses or lying to you, one of the two. Both are weird. There are other ways for him to network. He's not in the friend one, right? What does his dating bio say?
Friends. Like, it can tell you, like, what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It says friends.
Okay. Yeah. That doesn't mean anything. That just means he's a little smart. He's clever. I don't know.
What are the pictures on his account?
You know what's funny is there pictures that, like, of us together, that where I'm cropped out.
You're cropped out.
Mhm.
Listen, again, my point stands. Like, you can't, you know, you're trying to reason with insanity, and you're not going to get what you want from this guy by debating or discussing this. Because even if he is being legit with you,
Right.
it's still crazy behavior, and you don't have to put up with it, and you are.
I think that's, like, what I needed is, like, reality check and some, like, tough love that, like, no, you're not crazy for thinking that this is crazy because, like I said, the way that he explains it to me, it's so unbelievable that it sounds believable.
This is not the type of behavior someone who's seriously excited about a future with someone would do, because they would understand and empathize with your position, the emotional distress they'd be putting you through.
Right.
And he is either not giving a shit about how this is affecting you, what he's asking you to accept or put up with. I don't care what you guys have said to each other in terms of, I feel like I've known you forever, but like, you guys do not have the type of rapport to give him that type of trust. And he's asking you to trust something that's truly unbelievable. And this is not going to make or break his business. There's plenty of ways to network.
Oh, and then that's what he posed to me is like, what else should I try? Like, what else do I He says
LinkedIn.
he's done that, but it can't be linked to his boss's business. It has to be just him. Like, he had an excuse for that when I asked him, like, what about LinkedIn or what about Reddit? And he was like, well, it can't be tied to my boss's business. It has to be just
What does that
me.
mean?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Doesn't
I don't know
matter.
what that means.
It does. Again, I don't think you should reason with this guy.
Okay.
I think you should be like, listen, like, I want you to be successful, but if you're asking me to be okay with you on dating apps, then I don't want to be in a relationship. That's it. It's that simple. I really don't care what the reason is. There's other ways to do your job. You can say what you want about me, but like, I'm just not comfortable with my boyfriend being on dating apps. Like, you're literally matching with my friends.
Mhm.
My friends see you on there.
Mhm.
Like, I'm just not doing this. But you have to be willing to walk away.
Yeah, and that's, like, probably what would happen because I don't think that he would stop, which is, like that's, like, the hard part about it is, like, I feel like it's, like, high risk, like, but
Why? What is so different about this guy that, when you say he's the first person I've liked in so long?
yeah, like,
What makes him so? What do you like about him?
well,
That
I
you
mean,
can't find with other.
right, like, up until a few months ago, it's, like, the trajectory was really good, like, it was heading towards
What
relationship.
was good though? But that's what I'm saying. What you said? Oh well, part of the problem is the first person I've liked in a really long time.
Mhm.
And again, I'm just looking at you. I don't have to know anything to know that, like, this is not about you can't find a boyfriend. Maybe you are going after people who aren't good, partners for you. Maybe you're picky in areas that you could be less picky, and maybe you're not picky enough in areas where you should be more picky. Maybe you're chasing a spark that, 22-year-old you is looking for, but maybe 30-year-old you, who again is, cognizant of her age and has certain goals, like maybe you're chasing the wrong thing. Maybe you haven't adjusted how you're pursuing men since you've been 21. I don't know. But I think those are better questions to ask yourself. And I think that's a better place to spend your energy than trying to debate with this guy about why he should be on a dating app while he's calling you his girlfriend.
So that's the thing is, like, there was never a label, right?
I mean, whatever. I don't care. You get semantics,
Okay.
but you get my point,
Uh-huh.
right? Like,
Mhm, mhm.
you're investing in this guy, and the fact that you don't have a label is even more of a red flag. It's crazy behavior. But my point stands is you are allowing this to go on because you're unwilling to set a boundary and you're unwilling to enforce it, more specifically, because enforcing it means you'd probably have to walk away, and you don't seem to be willing to do that. The fact that you're not willing to do that tells me a lot about your dating decisions.
No, I think you're right. Like, I think that that's like fair to say. Maybe I'm pursuing those that shouldn't be pursued, that aren't available.
So what did you like about this guy?
I felt like he was interested in me, which I like haven't felt in a while. So that like made me feel
You haven't found
special.
anyone interested in you, period?
Not like I'm mutually, I guess.
Okay, so that's the big thing. And I think it's important. But like, so you're saying you haven't felt someone who you were interested in also is interested in you,
Right.
right? But there have been other men interested in you, correct?
Not to the extent of this one. Like this one, it was like we're talking every day. We're like going on trips together. We're spending weekends together. Like he had like said,
Why? But why are you talking every day and taking trips with someone you've only known for a couple months? And why is that your barometer?
I guess that was how I like felt like he was interested in me because he was really like pursuing me.
I guess I just find it hard to believe that you're like there's no way no men are interested in you. I think it's more the men that you're interested in aren't interested in you, which is I feel like a common thing for most people out there. But I am curious about the type of men you're interested in. What's your type?
Tall, dark, and handsome.
Okay.
I mean, I know you're saying you're like, I find it really hard to believe that you haven't found a boyfriend, but like, yeah, no, I haven't. I've been trying to find somebody for, I feel like years at this point, someone who, like I said, where it's like a real mutual connection, which I haven't been able to find up until right now. And I hear you when it's like, it's not this guy. He wouldn't be on the dating apps if he was interested in pursuing just you.
Before this guy, like how often are you talking with men before you go on a date? Like, are you having a problem matching with people, or is it like at what point do things seem to like not go your way?
Usually after the first date. Like, honestly,
Okay.
that's been the trajectory with probably the last, like, 5 or 6 where, like, we meet up on a first date, and I feel like it's cool, it's great, like, I'd love to see you again, and I get hit with I don't feel a romantic connection, I don't feel a spark, and there's been a lot of first dates recently.
Okay. All right. Are you hooking up with any of these guys on a first date?
No.
Okay. And how many of the first dates have you gone on recently where you feel like you want to go on a second date?
I mean, most of the time it's most of them, like,
Okay.
right? Where, like,
All right.
I would like to see them again, but then they don't feel the same way. Until this one, right? Where he was really pursuing me.
The fact that you're telling me that most of the first dates you go on, you're interested in a second date,
Mhm.
tells me that you are not on first dates focusing on getting to know these people, and the energy you're most likely putting out is trying to get these people to like you. And if that's the case, then you're probably A, not being yourself, and B, kind of giving a bit of a needy, desperate vibe. And I get it. Like, if you get rejected, it can get in your head, your ego kind of, but I guess my point is there's not that many great guys out there that if you really, really focused on asking yourself, am I interested in this person? Am I learning about this person on a first date? Are you spending a lot of time asking them questions and seeing if they answer, or are you doing most of the talking on first dates?
Like, most of the men that I've went out with recently have said that like I'm really good at making them feel comfortable. So I guess to answer your question is like, yeah, it's like I'm attracting men who are typically a little bit more shy and reserved and need some help getting out of their shell. And like I'm good at making them feel like
But
they
that's not your job on a first date. you know And I don't know
Mhm.
if men are looking to feel comfortable on a first date. I think men want to feel excited just like women want to feel.
Mhm.
I think men like a challenge, you know. I think they want
Mhm.
I think men want to wonder if you like them. And in the first
Mhm.
date, you're making it very clear how you feel about them without even getting to know them. And there's a little bit of like not being enough of a challenge.
Right, like maybe
Um,
that's why like I could potentially be falling into a friend zone, right? Is because I'm looking a little bit too eager.
yeah. And again, it's not your job to make men feel comfortable on the first date. I mean, you don't want to make them uncomfortable. It's not like I'm not saying go, show up and tease them or be rude or, I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it's not your job to make sure that they're okay. You're dating adult men. They should be able to handle themselves, I guess is my point. It's your job to learn as much as you can and decide after the date how you feel. Stop trying to get a second date before the first date ends. Go on a first date, be present, find out what do you want to learn, ask more questions. Your job is to learn about them. It is an interview. You're interviewing them. And if they want to get to know you, they'll ask you questions, you
Mhm.
know? you don't have to be a mute. You can make small talk, but when it comes to like, getting to know them, you should try to get to know them. But I think you should keep your cards closer to the vest in terms of making it clear how you feel about them, especially on the first date. Partly right now, you've been unlucky on first dates that you're just trying to get a second date. You don't even care with who, What that energy.
I think it's like, when like we're talking on the apps and the conversation is flowing really well and it seems like there's potential and that like, oh, we're going to meet face to face and it's going to go really well, right? Because that's like how it is in conversation over text. It's going really well. And then we meet face to face and then it doesn't go well, right? It doesn't go the way that I thought that it would.
Well, first of all, you shouldn't go into a first date with much expectations, right? So you're talking to strangers online via text. And then at some point you agree to a first date. You don't know these people. So the fact that you're going in with an expectation of how you think it's going to go is a bit silly, right? You should just go in like, basically the mindset is he's done enough to get me to agree to go out with him and meet him in person. That's it. That's not even an expectation. That's just like a fact. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to go on this date. Well, I'm we've had some small talk on text. Who knows? Obviously I'm interested in his pictures, but I guess let's see how tonight goes. Let's see. It's kind of like, is the attitude you should have, and you should be easy to get to know, so if he wants to get to know you, you should be willing to answer his questions, within reason. And you should come asking him questions. You mentioned you do what so-and-so for work. That's, what made you get into that? Oh, do you like it? Do you think you'll stay in it for a while? Like, what are your, what else do you do? Like, and you figure out if you have some common ground, like what TV shows, or what are you into? Like, I don't know. The fact that you have a common theme of men saying you make them feel safe and secure is like, I'm guessing pretty early on, you weirdly let them know that you're kind of like into them, and that puts them in a position of power and in control. And now they have to no longer be nervous about, does this girl like me?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a benefit to like those kind of nerves that you have. It keeps you on your toes a little bit. People like a challenge, and you're not presenting enough of a challenge. And ask your friends, but do your pictures you have in your dating app accurately portray what you look like in person?
Yeah.
Ask your friends and verify that. I'm not saying they don't, but just
They
make
don't.
sure.
There are some of just me, there are some with friends, there are some, there's full body photos, right? So like you do get like an accurate depiction of what I look like.
Great. And as long as you think it's updated and accurate, just like you don't want to, the only other argument, the only other possibility is like you have 3 or 5 pictures that don't really, and then they meet you in person. They're like, yeah, you don't look like your photos, which for anyone would be like, wait, what else are you hiding? So assuming that's not the case, then there's a reason why you're striking out on the first date. And I think a lot has to do with the energy you're bringing into the date and the need for need for validation. The number one reason that you said why you like this guy so much is just because of how he feel about you, not how he treated you, and him liking you made you feel good, which is a human thing, but it shouldn't be enough to
make you stay
or commit.
I think you're right. Like on all fronts that like, yes, on the first date in the situation with this guy where it's like I'm like making it too easy, where it's like they know that they've already like locked me in because I'm like giving that vibe off, right? That like I already like you, so they don't really have to do any work anymore, which is exactly what he's doing now. And
most people are just kind of like, oh, well, why do you like me so much? That's kind of weird. It's like it seems that, but I do think people sense people's energy, and you clearly you're giving off a bit of a need for validation.
No, I agree with that. I do. It's like I really want to find my person, right? It's like I don't know, maybe I'm making that like too clear in the very beginning. That if I'm interested in you, like I think it's like I don't want you to wonder, right? I want you to know like where I'm at and how I'm feeling, and if I like the vibe and I want to continue to get to know you. I guess I don't have a problem with like expressing that, so that way you don't have a question of where I'm at.
Yeah, and that's great. And I want you to maintain that, but you are expressing that without any information. You're not learning enough about these guys for you to be expressing that.
Right, because it is just a first date, right?
And again, you should wait till the date's over before you evaluate it, within reason. But right now, since you are someone who is sounds like on every first date you have, before the first date ends, you let them know that you want a second date. And I'm guessing much earlier than that, you give off the energy that you're all in. You need to stop that. You
It's
know?
more of a chase, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you were someone who like typically doesn't do that, and then, you got swept off your feet on a first date and you showed a little enthusiasm, fine. But these men shouldn't have the opportunity to reject you while you're on the first date.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at it like this before.
I would love for them to wonder how you feel about them.
Right.
And that alone will make you more attractive to them. Think about, just the way you answer your question. And, for the same reason why you have gotten into this rut is that like you haven't gotten the validation you needed, and now you're focused on getting validation, and it's made you like a bunch of men that you might not otherwise like.
I'm liking them just because I feel like they like me.
Yeah. Now you don't want a guy to like you just because you don't like them, but you need to take some of your power back, and you're clearly giving way too much too early on first dates. When was the last time you took a break from dating?
It's probably been a while.
Okay, take a break. I think you need to take a break, even if it's for a couple weeks, maybe a month, right? Like, first of all, you need to like figure out this guy. But I hope you take my advice and just say, I'm not okay with this.
Right.
So either you figure out another way to meet your number, or like I don't think we should hang out anymore.
And that was kind of like the last conversation was a little bit of me like putting my foot down when we spoke a couple of days ago. Because like I said, he brought it up that my roommate had like matched with him. I had told him that like I wish you could understand like how this looks to me, that like people don't go on a dating app to network their business. They go on looking to fuck around and find out, or it's like, hey, I'm looking for something serious, but not looking to rush into anything. They don't go into it with, I'm trying to sell business, right? They go into it looking for a partner, whatever that may mean to you. They're looking for something romantic or something physical. And I was like, I wish you could just see how this looks to me and how like stupid and foolish I look, that like you tell me that you want to just be friends and then you hop right back on a dating app. Like, I wish you could see how stupid that makes me and like how disrespectful it is to me, honestly. And his response to that was that he's being very selfish, and he's tried to express that to me. And this is a perfect example of it, of he's about him. He's about his health and his business right now, and getting back on these apps, knowing that where I'm at is a risk he's willing to take.
Because he knows you put up with it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stop putting up with this. So instead of saying, well, I wish you could see my point of view, you don't. No, just be like, the fact that you can't see my point of view tells me everything I need to know about how serious you are about this or me. And it's a bummer because I was definitely really excited about you, but like, I don't know. I'm just not into this. I'm 38 years old. I don't have fucking time to waste on this type of on these games. So like, it's fun. It's been fun. And you got to talk like that. You got to talk like this is stupid and it's beneath you. Like I wish you could see my side is you pleading with him and begging him. That's you saying it gives child. And I don't mean that like I'm not trying to be mean. It's like a parent-child relationship. Please, mom, please, dad, please, can you understand? Please, you're begging, and he has all the power.
Yeah.
And so the reason why he's willing to take that risk is because he feels very much in control of this relationship.
Right. That I'm not going to walk away. And he can do it.
And all he has to do is, and the only thing he has to do is kind of put up with having to have these conversations on a somewhat regular basis. So stop begging, stop asking, and just tell him exactly how you feel and what you're not or what you are willing to put up with, and then follow through. And then assuming you actually walk away, and I would strongly I just don't think, regardless of, can you really trust that he's off these apps? I don't fucking know. The fact that he is so willing to ask you to do this tells me everything you need to know about this guy. And the fact that you liked him mostly solely based off of the affection he showed you means that like maybe he's just the type of guy who's really, that's what works for him. He's good at like, the love bombing aspect, but it's just like he comes out of the gates fast. He gets you locked in with a lot of affection. And then 2 or 3 months later, he starts pulling, out these like weird behaviors. I'd be willing to bet a large sum of money that if you ran into ex-girlfriends of his, they would have a similar story to tell about how he came out of the gates early, strong, hot and heavy, and then once things got a little comfortable, he started pulling some shit.
Yeah, I would be
But assume,
curious.
well, no, I mean, I don't want you to be curious. I don't want you. Just assume that's the case. I don't need you tracking down his exes. But let's assume that you move on for this guy. The fact that you haven't taken a break in a while is I think you need to take a break. And I think you need to focus on yourself a little bit, whatever that means to you, hang out with the girls, take a vacation, get into, invest in yourself a little bit, focus on you a little bit, at least take a couple weeks off, delete the apps for a while, maybe a month or two, get back out there with a better game plan of how you want to approach first dates. Because right now you're just kind of spiraling. You're just, to use a sports analogy, when someone's in a slump, especially at baseball, sometimes the manager just has them sit a few games. Just reset, get out of your head. Because right now you're just fucking, you're taking on water, so to speak, and you're way too reactive on dates. You're reacting to the situation. You're not in control of the situation. And that's just because you probably just, you're feeling a little too rejected, a little too often. And right now you're just trying to avoid the rejection and you're not trying to get to know these guys.
I think reading too much into situations because when I say the day-to-day hasn't really changed, he still hits me up every day. He still wants to see me every weekend. We're still planning trips together. So it's
Stop that. I mean, if I were you, I wouldn't reach out to him.
No, I don't reach out. It's him coming to me.
Great. All right. Well, next time he reaches out, just say, hey, listen, I'm not okay with this. So I've thought a lot about this. I'm not here to discuss this or debate this. But if you want to keep seeing me and you want to take this seriously, I need you to get it off the dating apps. If that's not something you're willing to do, then this is goodbye. That's it.
And just be firm with that because that's the hard part.
Yes. It is. But again, you are 38, right? And if you stop using your biological clock as an excuse if you're going to be willing to waste your energy and time on men who clearly are showing you that they're not taking you seriously. You're using that as an excuse to put up with these guys. And in fact, what they are is showing you that they're wasting your time. So you're better off being open and available and single to meet someone who's willing to respect you and prioritize you than to continue to invest in people who have already shown you that they're not.
I just feel what's hard for me is that besides the being on the dating apps, it seemed that's what he was doing. He was investing and pursuing and
Yeah, but it's early though. It's again, people some people just love to come on hot and heavy. Some people start out strong. There's a lot of people out there, specifically guys, who they like having girlfriends, right? They don't like being boyfriends, but they like having girlfriends. And then they want to have the security and consistency and comfort of having a girlfriend. So they know what women like you like. They want that validation. They want that excitement, the trips, the consistency of him reaching out. These, like you said, some of these are green flags, right?
Yeah.
But again, once they feel like you're getting comfortable and enjoying the things that they're providing, that's when they start pulling out this weird behavior, or they start seeing what they can get away with. And the truth is, this type of behavior, he doesn't know you much either. So he shouldn't be liking you this strongly this early because he doesn't get to know you. When people say, oh, I really like you, it should make sense.
It's what my therapist says. She's you have to really think about if you allowing him access to you is hurting you or helping you in the long run.
Correct. Yeah. Clearly hurting you,
I think what's hard for me to forget is that he's on the apps, because he tells me that it's to solicit and to make friends and he doesn't know how else to do that.
Again, let's just assume he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
It's not something you need to put up with.
Right.
It's not something you have to accept. Right? I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in that.
I need to have some self-respect and some value for myself that to know that that's not acceptable. If I'm somebody
and you don't need to even say that to him. You just say that to yourself, but you just be like, this is stupid. I don't even know why I entertain this.
I don't. I don't. That's why I don't know why I'm entertaining this.
Yeah. So if he reaches out, don't answer and text him. You don't need to talk to him. Whatever you need to do to feel the most confident in order to enforce this boundary, do that.
Which would probably not corresponding with him, not talking to him.
Yeah.
I would like
So,
take the power back that like you don't get
no, I mean,
to.
if you have to go, so be it. But I think you standing up for yourself and you communicating that you're going to enforce this boundary is something you need to start practicing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But you can do it over text.
I don't have to see him again, right?
You definitely do not have to see him again.
I just like really have to remember that like he's spoken his piece. This is his truth. He's on the dating apps. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
have to remember. I really cannot think about, how it's been the last 3 months and the things that we have planned for the future. Like that is null and void when you tell me that you want to just be friends and then hop right back on a dating app.
Yes. And then I want you to take a break from dating for a while. Build up some of that self-confidence, hang out with your girls, surround yourself with people who make you feel good about yourself, who, I'm being serious, Because right now you're spending way too much energy on dating and you're going out with these people who are strangers, and via the rejection you're feeling on first dates is just making you feel less and less confident, and that's part of the reason why you're allowing this type of behavior to go on.
Right. No, I think you're right. This is like what I needed to hear. I needed a little reality check and some tough love.
Well, so I'm here. Please keep us posted on what ends up happening. But you are very much in control
Yeah.
of your dating life, and you are acting like you're not, and it's up to you to change it. So your love life is not the lost cause that you make it out to be.
Well, thank you.
And when you're ready to get back out there, take it slow.
Yeah.
And remember that a first date is about getting to know them and seeing if you're willing to waste more time to give them another opportunity to get to know you a little bit more, and then stop asking for the second date on the first date. Let them wonder how you feel about them.
Yeah. Leave a little mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Well, thank you, Nick.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Good luck out there.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, it's the holidays, and it's time to start thinking for that special someone in your life and give them the gift of thoughtfulness. Well, I got a great idea for you. It's Skylight Frame. Skylight Frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will absolutely love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. This is also a great party trick. Get Skylight Frame, put it in your house, and when you have company, go online, upload a photo of your friends, and make it seem like you love them so much that you hang a photo with them with your Skylight Frame. Plus, it's just a great way to keep those photos current. You never, go to grandma's house and she's got like some weird picture of you from like the 5th grade that you're like, you hate how you look, or maybe this awkward stage in high school. Well, if you give grandma a Skylight Frame, you can update pictures of yourself with grandma with your hottest photos, your best looking photos. It's great. So many great ways to benefit from Skylight Frame. It's fun. It's a great way to stay connected and share with the family. Again, keep those photos up to date and keep in touch with your loved ones. It's a great and absolutely thoughtful gift. Get your loved one a Skylight Frame. Before you give it to them, put in some beautiful photos of loved ones and memories and special occasions. And of course, those hot photos of yourself. Over 1 million happy customers, thousands of 5-star reviews, and available in over 30 countries. Recommended by the Today Show, Forbes, New York Mag, and more. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame when you go to skylightframe.com/files. That's FILES. Again, that's skylightframe.com, spelled SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/files. FILES. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/files. Need some help with ideas for this holiday season shopping? Well, Ouai is making it easy to give incredible gifts this holiday. Ouai is a hair care brand that caters to all hair types. Their hair and body products are specifically designed to customize a routine that works for you and personalize a gift for everyone on your list.
Ouai has something for everyone during their Cyber Week sale, their biggest sale of the year. You'll save 20% off site-wide from November 26th to December 2nd. The thing I love about Ouai is that they make products specifically for my type of hair. I have thick hair, so some of that other stuff doesn't really work for it. My hair is left conditioned, moisturized, clean, and I love the way that it smells. It's like taking a St. Bart's vacation. It's so yummy. I use the body wash. I use shampoo, conditioner, leave-in conditioner, literally the entire stock. I have it.
Whether the person on your list has fine, medium, or thick hair, or multiple hair concerns, Ouai's got you covered. And there are so many ways, pun intended, to save this holiday season thanks to the Cyber Week sale at Ouai from November 26th to December 2nd. Go to theouai.com, that is spelled TheOuai.com, for 20% off site-wide from November 26th to December 2nd when you enter promo code Viall Files. That's theouai.com. Again, TheOuai.com for 20% off with promo code Viall Files. How's it going?
Okay, good. I'm Michelle. I'm 34, and I broke up with my stoner boyfriend, but now I'm wondering if I should have just gotten past that.
Let's find out. When you say your stoner boyfriend, how much is he smoking weed?
Assuming he was transparent with me about it. When we first met, he had a vape pen, he had a job where he could do it at work and still do his job. So to my knowledge, he was doing it every day on his lunch break. I assume in the morning when he woke up, and then every day after work.
So consistently. Did he go around life looking like he was always fucked up?
No, I wouldn't have known really unless he told me.
Oh, okay. Well, that matters. Why does he smoke weed?
I can't speak for him exactly, but from what he
Just
told
in
me,
your opinion.
he's had,
from your perspective,
he's had depression, anxiety, trauma. He was an ex-military person. I think he's tried antidepressants. He's tried other things to help with his depression, and those didn't work. He didn't like the side effects, and this was the thing that he found that helped him deal with life and his depression, is what he told me. So he said he was just bored. I think so. Yeah, I mean, I guess I believed him, but
him is saying part of it is he's just bored is a pretty honest answer.
Yeah, and so on our third date, he told me, and I was like, okay, that's not really what I'm into, and I'm not sure if this is going to work out.
Why aren't you into it? And there's no wrong answer. I'm just honestly just asking questions. And what do you mean by not into it?
Because I've dated people that they've done it frequently before. And I think just having a partner who's a little buzzed all the time and not fully present bugs me.
Do you feel like he's not fully present?
I think so. I just I don't know. I wanted him to not be altered all the time and just be sober.
Because you felt like he was altered, or based off the principle of it? It's you just knew he was doing it and that just bothered you.
Yeah, I think, just knowing he was doing it.
But like you said, you might not have, not that it would be okay that he would hide it from you, but if you had never known, you might not know.
Yeah. So he told me he was tapering it off. He quit for 2 months because he said, I want you to know that it doesn't change my personality. I want you to see me sober. So he did quit for 2 months, cold turkey. So I got to see him without it. But then he slowly started doing it more and more again. And then he started hiding it from me, which was the main reason why we broke up.
How long were you dating for?
7 or 8 months, long enough for it to feel pretty serious. And I could have seen a future with this person.
What did you like about him?
He was really kind. He was really patient. He was really outdoorsy. We would go camping and snowboarding. Was a really good dog dad to my dog. He was just a good human.
Do you miss him?
Yeah. I mean, especially, it's a little bleak out here in the dating world. And I don't know. I'm just what if every other person I date is not as good of a human as he is, but doesn't smoke weed, Yeah,
it's a good question.
Yeah, the hiding it from me thing was what ended our relationship. But I'm well, if I hadn't told him it bugged me so much, he wouldn't have been hiding it, and then we would.
Well, it doesn't make it okay that he hid it. But when you say hid it, how much was he just kind of trying to avoid doing it around you, or was he flat out just lying to you?
He would just avoid doing it around me.
Okay, not quite the same then.
Yeah, but
it's lying.
I told him I'm okay with you doing it on the weekends. If you could just not do it every day, all day during the work week, I could try to get over it. But he was doing it while I was at work because I work late shifts, and he was just doing it all day, which was not the compromise that we agreed on.
I smoke weed. I think people know that. I've been trying to cut back drastically. I'm currently on a no weed weekdays. I am allowing myself to do it on the weekend. I am not someone who's ever abused substances, and I like to be in control. But the reality is that I know, and I didn't start until I was an adult, but I do suffer from anxiety. It's been a challenge. Again, I don't love that I'm on it, and I'm sure I would be willing to bet that he probably doesn't like that he's reliant on it either. I'm guessing, right? Do you think that's fair?
It never seemed to bother him after I broke up with him over it. Now he's saying that he realizes he has a dependency on it, and he's like trying to just quit because he, he was happy with me and he wishes he hadn't let this like ruin our relationship. I don't know. At the time, it seemed like he didn't care, like that he was doing it all the time. So.
And by the way, do you drink alcohol?
Yes.
How much?
Oh my God, we fought about it all the time because, I didn't drink every day, but maybe like 4 or 5 times a week.
4 or 5 times a week? Damn.
Well, like a beer, like once he started the whole like not smoking during the week, just on the weekends thing, I just started drinking on the weekends because I felt like that was like a fair compromise. So I've been drinking less, but we would fight about it a lot. He'd be like, well, what's the difference between me smoking and you drinking? But I didn't want to drink every day.
Yeah, someone like me, I think there's a huge difference. And I think alcohol, fuck, it's not even a debate. The stats on how damaging alcohol can be. So yeah, there's a bit of hypocrisy coming from your end, a tad.
I know.
But we also recognize that like we have a culture, like I am not super comfortable acknowledging my weed smoking because I know people listening, there's some opinions about it. And regardless of the facts about alcohol versus weed, is that we have a culture that not only accepts alcohol, but embraces alcohol. In fact, we have a culture that almost like if you don't drink alcohol, period, a lot of people find you weird. It's like, oh, well, you don't drink at all? Yuck, right? And then, but for people who might smoke weed, there's like this judgment of like, oh, you're some sort of drug. And I get it. Like, for most of my life, honestly, it's still federally illegal to smoke marijuana. So like the facts is that you are ending a relationship with someone that you think is a good guy, that you have a good connection with, that someone you enjoy spending time with, mostly based off of what society has told you to feel about weed versus alcohol. And when you put it like that, that seems a little silly.
But I feel like if he did smoke or like did drink every day on his lunch break and then drank as soon as he got home and then drank before he went to bed, I think that would bug me too.
Maybe so. Yeah, I don't doubt that. But like also his behavior might change too. And like you said, you wouldn't even notice. And also Natalie fucking hates that I smoke weed. Hates. And at first she didn't. To be clear, if I took edibles, she'd be fine with it. But that's me trying to cut down. That's me being like, you know what? I'd rather just see if I could like taper down here. I don't want to be using it every day. I don't want to become reliant on it. I need to hold myself a little bit more accountable. That's a choice I'm making. My wife is challenging me to take better care of myself, And so I think a couple can do that, right? I think there's a difference between arguing over semantics about weed versus alcohol. And there's a difference between helping each other be the healthiest, best versions of themselves versus telling them what they can't do or making your partner feel like they have to covertly use something that, quite frankly, might help them out.
Yeah, I guess I just like wish I could have been in his brain because I know like he said it, because he has such a tolerance to it. Like, it's not like he's like blasted, he's not like super high out of his mind.
You're getting mad for all the wrong reasons yeah. And listen, I want to be clear that I'm not criticizing your, not loving that he's so reliant on it. But ending a relationship versus like being willing to work with him on this, especially he hasn't demonstrated any destructive behavior or he had, you could almost argue that he's sadly a better version of himself. Maybe he's a little more calm. Maybe he's a lot less anxious. I am better in social settings when when I have my friend with me, right? When I don't, I can be more introverted. I can be, a little socially awkward. It helps me. For the same reason why people drink when they're out, He seems also willing to work with you. It's not like he's just like, listen, you're crazy. I'm right. You're wrong. I'm not going to stop. You can't tell me what. He's not doing that. He has tried to show you. He quit for 2 months. He got back on it. But he's having a hard time letting it go. But I think you're going to get a lot further with him just, reminding him of the fact that you would like to see him control it a little better than he has. Be willing to not be so black and white about it. especially since you drink on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, I just lost my shit whenever he was like lying about it, because I was like, it felt like we were working on it together until he just was like, I guess in his brain, well, she's still going to be bothered by it, so I'm just going to do it and not tell her.
Yeah, that's not, I mean, again, I don't in this particular argument, I'm not defending it. It's not okay for him to do that. He also partly is like, I'm an adult. I don't need her permission to smoke weed. And it obviously bothers her. So like, it's not healthy behavior. I'm not saying it's right that he was doing that. I think you were both making mistakes from where I stand, but you did end up breaking up with him for it.
Yeah, because I was being paranoid, and he was like at my house, like watching my dog until I got off work, and I like looked on my Rover camera and he was on my porch doing it with my dog, and then he lied. I like asked him about it later, and he lied about it.
Oh, so he did lie.
Yeah, and
okay, that's not cool.
Brushed his teeth and washed his face so I wouldn't smell it on him, and it was my weed too that he like smoked, and then he like put it back in the bottom of the thing, and so I wouldn't know that he had done that. So that was when I lost my shit about it. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to get any better if you're just lying about it now.
Relationships are hard, as I'm sure you know. And to make a relationship work over the course of time, it's really important you find someone that you respect as a person, that treats you well, that you have a lot of that you like their character, you have a lot in common, you enjoy each other's company, and nitpicking some small, slightly unhealthy habits, might not be the hill to die on. I think you have the right to say, hey, listen, like you obviously know I don't love the weed smoking. I would love for you to try to work on your reliance and have some kind of boundaries. But ultimately, you're an adult man. I'm not going to tell you when you can and cannot smoke. Now, keep in mind, like if he's smoking, grass and it's smoke, you have the right to be like, that's just kind of like gross and you smell. And those are other things you can work through as a couple to find that balance. You're right. It is tough out there to find good people. And it sounds like maybe you found one. And I would be willing to bet that his nasty little habit, helps him out, especially as a veteran, might have some PTSD, suffers from anxiety, Again, if he was medicating, you wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, where I'm at now is he is like begging me to work it out, and he's not like calling and texting me as much because I told him to stop. But like if I called him and I was like, hey, I've been thinking about it and I want to try to work it out, like he would, which is what's like so confusing.
What's confusing? He likes you.
But we fought about it so much. We're still going to fight about it all the time. I feel like
if you don't let it go, for sure. Yes. If you are not willing to change, then you shouldn't get it back together. You need to let some of this go. You need to recognize a little bit of your hypocrisy. I'm not telling you to completely get over it. And I'm not saying that you have to not challenge him to, again, be a healthier version of himself. But I think you can do that without being a nag or someone who's like spying on him or like trying to catch him in the act, or letting it like get to you over the principle of it because you see him smoking on your, web or whatever. Like, let the man live a little bit. But yeah, you can challenge him to reduce how much he's doing it and try to find the middle ground here. Because as someone who like him, developed a bit of a reliance, I'm sure he wants to be a healthy version too. And I'm sure he can recognize it's like, maybe I do it too much. And I think he can do that. But yeah, if you're not going to change, you're not going to change your point of view at all. And you're going to like dig your heels in the ground and just say, hey, it's the principle of it. It just bothers me and I don't know why. And there's nothing I can do about it. So I need you to change. Then yeah, don't get back together.
I mean, he did change how much he was doing it, but he still thinks there's like nothing wrong with doing it like every night.
I mean, I don't. I mean, like, listen, like marijuana does affect your brain. There are side effects to it. There's side effects to any type of medication. You ever? I mean, turn on the TV.
Yeah.
Hey, take this drug for this benefit, and then give us 30 seconds to list the nasty side effects you might experience. So we're just gonna say it real fast, so you kind of ignore it. But like, but yes, like there are consequences to everything. But yeah, I mean, it might make him sleep better. It might make him like, I don't know, like. The fact that you can say, I might not even know he was doing it if he didn't tell me, I think is something you should think about.
I know.
What are you giving up? I mean, like, you like this guy. You like the person he is. You miss them when you're not with them.
I know, but I don't know. I didn't like the idea that it seemed like he needed to be high to enjoy spending time with me. Like it felt like he was a little grumpy.
I mean, I don't know.
Without it, you know.
Sometimes I honestly feel like I have a broken brain. I'm very, 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 very good at some things and very, 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 very bad at other things. And one of the things I'm very bad at, it does feel like sometimes weed helps me be a little better at those things, especially in social situations. There's also a negative to it, and it can be both. Again, it's all a little out of sight, out of mind. I want to say the point again, but if he was medicating every day and he just had to take one pill, but that one pill helped him in very similar ways that weed does, would you want him to not take that pill because out of your own insecurities of him able to enjoy you? Then yeah, I mean, I imagine he would be grumpy if he's like feels like he does benefit from the effects of marijuana and then he can't enjoy those benefits and he might feel it. Has not been fun for me for no weed weekdays, I'll be honest. Like the first couple days last week were not fun. I mean, I felt like I was going to explode.
Yeah, I don't know. We would like go on a hike and he usually had a summit joint and he was like grumpy that he wasn't having a summit joint. Or we would go paddleboarding and he was like grumpy that he wanted to smoke a joint.
Those are good times to have weed, I will say. But part of it is it's like, you know, no one wants to be mothered in a relationship.
I know, yeah.
What I think your guys' problem, both of you, is you haven't been able to strike that balance. It has become too combative. And I don't think you approached this with, you know, more of a team thing. And they're like, hey, listen, like, you're an adult man, but like, you weren't challenging him to be a healthier version of himself. You were based off of mostly principles and society's point of view on weed. You decided that it bothered you and you decided to put your foot down. And that felt to him, I'm guessing, a little petty, and I would be grumpy too if I was not able to enjoy what I wanted to enjoy because my girlfriend has a particular point of view, mostly based off of society, while we get done from the paddleboard and she cracks open a beer.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't drinking as much. I was aware of the hypocrisy and
you get my point.
Yeah.
I think you've gotten in your head a little bit about what you think it means and yada, yada, yada. And what I'm hearing is two good people met each other and you guys really like very much, and you know, you're talking pet peeves, non-negotiables, which I often do. You are making a big deal over what is a pet peeve, but a non-negotiable would be like, you know, how he treats you, how he treats others, you know, the type of person he is. It's like, yeah, you know, I would love my boyfriend not to smoke weed, but he is a great guy. He's enjoyable. I find him attractive. He's good around my family. He's good with your dog, yada, yada. Like, he's a good person and he likes me and I like him. And those are some good non-negotiables to have.
It just seemed like he wasn't trying other ways to like, I was aware he had mental health issues. He was open about that, but like
what other way? I mean, fine. Is he, maybe he's not in therapy? I'm in therapy. I'm therapied the fuck up. I still like weed.
Well, like, he wasn't like sleeping enough. He wasn't like eating healthy. He wasn't he's never tried to go to therapy or like talk about his feelings or like try to cope.
And you can still do that. You can still challenge him to do that. But I don't know if it's like, I need you to go to therapy so you can stop smoking weed. Maybe if you backed off on the weed stuff, you would get a little further with how he, you know, granted, that being said, I will say no weed weekdays has, I'm eating a lot less cereal at night. That is.
I would always like find a pint of Ben & Jerry's in the trash can, and I was like, somebody smoked here. I can tell.
Yeah. So that is a valid gripe that you can have. You know, again, you can find the middle ground. Like Natalie very much does not like my weed smoking. She is very much on a regular basis has challenged me to reduce it. I am not worried about my wife leaving me.
I tried for months to like just deal with it, but I don't know.
Yeah, because you're very much set in your ways. You're having a hard time letting it go.
But the main reason I ended it was I was being a little crazy. I like stalked his location on Find My Friends, and I was like, he went to a dispensary, that motherfucker, and like he was like hiding it from me towards the end. But
because you're checking his location.
I know because he was I don't know. I felt in my gut like he was hiding it from me.
You're both being wrong here, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, like I think you both could be handling this situation better. But from what I'm hearing, it seems like, yeah, you're maybe letting a good thing go. I promise you that if you don't get back together with this guy, you move on, you start dating someone else, and your new boyfriend or guy you're hanging out with demonstrates like some fuckboy behavior or doesn't treat you well or, you know, is kind of a dick to your friends, whatever, you will wish that you were dating the weed smoker.
I know. And all like a lot of my friends' husbands do it a lot. And one of my friends is even like, yeah, I think he's like a better dad sometimes because he's a little more patient and he's a little like in a better mood. And a lot of my friends, it doesn't bother them that their husbands do it. And I don't know why I couldn't get past it. And like I tried for like 7 months and I just.
Are you in therapy?
No.
Why do you want him to go to therapy? It's tough to challenge someone to go to therapy if you're not in therapy.
Yeah, because he like has had like suicidal ideations and stuff before.
Yeah,
like I know he
I
like really needed it
But-
more than like I have, but
I get it, but my point still stands that you don't
Yeah.
need to have suicidal ideations to prioritize your mental health. And the fact that you can acknowledge that you can't get over this, even though you realize that maybe you should, is maybe something you could work on through therapy. Maybe there's a reason why you're having a hard time letting this go. Maybe there's a reason why you're so principled about something that, quite honestly, is more of a pet peeve than a non-negotiable. Maybe your mental health challenges aren't as pronounced as his and aren't as severe as his, like, you know, having suicidal ideations. But our mental health affects all of us, and it affects our interpersonal relationships, and it's so stalking his location to spy on him, because, is like a thing. It's like a thing you shouldn't be doing, and that might be something you could work on, with a therapist.
I was being crazy at the end, and I wasn't trusting him, and I thought he was hiding it, which is why I was watching his location, and why I saw him on my Rover cam doing it, because I was spiraling. So I know I had my problems in that relationship too, but
yeah,
you're right.
It's okay.
I could go into my next relationship and the guy could treat me way worse and not smoke a ton of weed, and I will regret it.
I just go back to, if he was medicated up, you wouldn't be doing this. And all the things that bother you about weed, you should, in theory, bother you about taking medicine. If him being medicated changes his mood or behavior in any way, then he is somewhat reliant on that, right? And then therefore, because you said earlier, it's this way, I feel like maybe he can't enjoy my presence without weed. Okay, well, what if the same was true about medication?
Yeah.
For people who severely suffer with ADHD and have to medicate for that, they're probably a lot less enjoyable off their medication, especially once they become reliant on it. Are you going to sit there and make it about you in that moment? And we'll be like, well, you wouldn't enjoy me without your medication, and therefore I feel less important. You wouldn't. So you have a stigma in your head about a thing, which I get it. A lot of people do. You're not the only one. But when you're objective about it and realize that, weed is a form of medication, it's just a more less commercialized version, and certainly less socially acceptable. One could argue it's less destructive than some of the more socially acceptable means out there.
Yeah.
This is definitely a pet peeve versus a non-negotiable situation, and you needing to reprioritize.
Yeah. And I've heard other people that you've talked to talk about the lack of motivation that their partners have. And I think that was another thing that really bothered me, was he hated his job, but he wouldn't apply for a better job. And he seemed like it was affecting his general life, just because he didn't seem super motivated and just kind of complacent.
And that's fair. But, we've been talking for, I don't know, 30 minutes. And this is so clearly that's not why you broke up with him, though, is kind of my point.
Yeah.
So, but you have a right to be bothered by that, but you're also, imagine where he might be with that if you are channeling your energy to support him and motivate him and suggest ideas in which, he could. But right now, you're just fucking hounding him about weed, and he's spending most of his energy while he's with you fighting you with you about weed. That energy could be maybe channeled into more productive outlets. I don't know.
I think it's just the fact that my experience with weed is so different than his.
Like, I respond to alcohol different than my friends. I'm a very casual drinker. I don't drink all that much. I have one drink. That's pretty, I like to enjoy the taste of alcohol from time to time, but I don't drink in any type of consumption. I don't remember the last time I was buzzed off of alcohol.
I couldn't understand like what was going on in his brain, because when I have smoked, I'm very foggy, and
but you're not him. You have a different body. Some people can be around dogs and be great. Some people are allergic. Some people can eat peanuts and some people die from them.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand why, you just have to accept that it's something he does. You don't even have to like it. You just have to allow him. You maybe just have to accept that it is something he does and find the middle ground to have him challenge himself to maybe not be so reliant on it, but like stop short of policing him, which you are.
I tried to just not let it bother me, and I never could get it to not bother me. And
I get it. Yeah, but therapy, that's a you problem. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say therapy, because like when we get mentally stuck, that's an opportunity for therapy to have its benefits. And we all get mentally stuck from time to time. You're mentally stuck on this. You don't even have a logical reason as to why. It just does. And that's a very human feeling that you're feeling. But that's kind of my point. So we can continue to go back and forth. You're clearly mentally stuck on this. I'm not going to be able to convince you to just be okay with it. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to point out the hypocrisy. And again, I don't really care if you don't want to be with the guy, but it sure sounds like I hate that you can acknowledge that it's tough out there to date and that you found a guy that you care about and cares about you and you miss him, and he treats you well. And the one thing that bothers you is his weed. And like the second thing that kind of bothers you is his motivation, but like, and that's a real thing, but you're not talking about that too much.
Yeah. I mean, the other stuff I could have looked past, that like he hated his job and he wasn't super motivated, but for whatever reason, just if
I were you, that'd bother me more than the weed.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I just think it affected his whole lifestyle. And I don't know, but also like the smell and his beard smelling like
that's valid. But again, like he could take edibles, he can get a pen, like again, he can definitely cut back. If he didn't think he had to hide it from you, then he could just smoke. He could go wash up, wash his beard, wash his face, take some mouthwash, do all the things he needs to do to not be a fucking stinky ashtray. And you would just have to let it the fuck go and not be the person who's hovering over him and be like, did you smoke again? Smelling you.
That was me. I didn't like myself at the end there because I knew I was policing him and driving him in, not letting him just do him, like do something he enjoyed. But
well, again, it's a balance. If he enjoyed getting hammered every night and where he was an asshole, that wouldn't be an excuse. But it doesn't seem to change all his behavior. And you could argue it seems like it improves his behavior. It doesn't cause him to treat you poorly. If anything, you're worried that it's the reason why he's so great.
I know. Yeah, that bugs me a little too. Like,
you may not like it, but this is him trying to address his mental health challenges. And certainly he needs to do more. He definitely should be in therapy if he's having these types of thoughts, for sure. And he definitely needs to try to limit how much he's on it. And if he is going to do it, he needs to, find a way to not eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's every time he does, because sugar is also very, very terrible for us, right? It's one of the worst things for us.
I guess now that I've actually done the breakup, should I just let him find somebody who it doesn't bother them and they won't fight about it every weekend? And
that's for you to decide, I don't, if I were you, I think you know where I stand. I think you're potentially letting a good thing going for all the wrong reasons. And I think you're potentially losing something over what is ultimately a pet peeve of yours. I don't want to convince you to date the guy. And if you refuse to do anything about your inability to get over this and your mental hurdle over this problem, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't. You want him to work on things. You want to address things. Why don't you address things? You would rather have him find another girl because you don't want to work on you.
I don't know. We fought about it so much. And I mean, neither of us were happy because.
Well, you wouldn't let it go.
I know.
And yeah, listen, like it's much harder for him to let it go because it does sound like it has some benefits for him. And you didn't want to let it go because you just didn't want to let it go.
Now he's saying like I want to work things out. Like I'll quit completely if you want, but
that's silly.
Yeah, because ultimately I think he would resent me for it, and then he may
correct. Yes,
have more.
That's not the solution.
Issues,
Yeah, you're right. If you're not willing to let it go, then you shouldn't be with him. But I think you would be hurting yourself. And again, if you want him to be willing to work on himself and find areas in which he can make improvements in his life, you need to be willing to do the same. And what I'm hearing from you is you want him to change, but you're not willing to.
I changed a little bit. Like I was okay with him doing it like all weekend most of the time, like which
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this clear stubbornness that you have.
Yeah.
Being able to get, over this, whatever it is that bugs you so much about it. That's the thing, because you can't even like name it. You can acknowledge the hypocrisy, but it just bugs you. It just does. For whatever reason, it just does. And you can't get out of your own way. And that's a you problem that you probably, if I were you, would want to address. Why am I so set in my ways? Why am I willing to make something that's ultimately a pet peeve a non-negotiable when it shouldn't be? Like, why am I unwilling to like find a common ground with my boyfriend on this topic?
I live in Colorado, so I'm pretty sure that most guys that live here that I'm going to date probably also enjoy it.
Yeah.
Maybe not to that level, but it's always going to be a thing. As long as I live in Colorado.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's America, and it's only going to become more and more legal. It's soon going to be federally legal. It'll soon be as socially acceptable as alcohol.
Yeah, I should get some therapy. And I mean, I haven't talked to him in a little while, but because I told him like to give me space to like think about it. But he definitely, if I called him right after this and told him I wanted to work it out, he would. But I haven't done the work on myself, so I don't know if we could work it out. But
I don't either. But what if you just call him up and say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be honest. I miss you, but I don't know why I have a hard time letting it go, but I am." But I also recognize it's probably, I haven't been fair to you, but what I've been asking you to do, it does bother me you do that. I do think I have a right to ask you to limit how much you do, but like, I need to work on that. But like, I don't know the solution, but yeah, I guess I'd love to try to figure this out. But like, you are going to have to ease up. You're going to have to get over it. You're going to have to accept him for who he is. I want to be clear. I'm not expecting you to just like if someone was drinking with excess and changing his behavior, to me, it's just more about like, how do they treat you? And you have the right to be worried about his health as someone who cares about him, for sure. And weed it has its side effects. It's not without its risks.
He did say his lungs felt better the 2 months that he quit smoking, and like running was easier.
This is not about you being right or wrong. It's about you being better at empathizing with his point of view and vice versa, and you being a little bit more open-minded than you are, and be willing to, work with your partner on finding common ground, and not be so set in your ways, and not be so principled over things that ultimately aren't, like harming you. It's like you're just fighting battles that aren't getting you anywhere.
Yeah, I think I was just being like stubborn, and
yes,
you're
definitely stubborn.
Yeah, here we are.
That's okay. Well, some you could definitely work on with a therapist for sure.
He said I can like drug test him if I want, which is crazy, and I would not do that.
No, that's crazy.
Of course,
it's crazy.
He's like,
what matters is how much this guy cares about you and what he's willing to do for you. I just got off the phone with a woman who started dating a guy, and 3 months in, he said he's going back on the dating apps to sell women insurance, and he's not willing to get off the dating apps for her.
Oh.
Yeah, he's willing to accept the consequences if she continues to not be okay with her essential boyfriend being on dating apps to sell insurance, which sounds fucking crazy. I just want to point out the type of men out there.
I know.
Just saying. And again, you have the right to be annoyed and about his weed smoking. You have the right to want to have him reduce it and be reliant on it. But I think it's safe to say this helps him be a better person in a lot of ways. And he's willing to give that up for you. He's willing to give up something that makes him happier and more calm just to be with you.
Yeah. And
I don't think you should make him do it, but like, I think it just goes to how much this guy, that matters. Like you want a lot, fuck, man, I talk to a lot of women when push comes to shove, they have a baby or whatever. And like then their men don't step up. This guy will step up.
I don't know how long, like he would actually be willing to quit or like change.
Well, I don't want you to make him quit. I want you to get over your mental hurdle. And then I want you two to work together on a compromise that you both can live with. Natalie's compromise was, the smoking, it's gross, you smell, it's disgusting, it's a bad habit. She was fine with me taking edibles. I am currently trying to drastically reduce how much I take it and rely on it and find, exercise at night more, eat healthier. I'm trying to do all those things, right? Like, but, and maybe one day I'll totally quit. But like, she is willing to, she's not saying quit totally for me. She understands that, like, in a lot of ways it helps me, and I don't want to medicate with a pill. That's just a personal choice I'm making.
Yeah, now, since we had the breakup, he is like working out more and like eating healthier and trying to find other ways
to get that breakup bod,
Yeah. I don't know. I just wish he had tried a little harder while
what do you
we were
mean?
still dating.
He quit for 2 months.
But then he
I just don't think it's
again.
not registering. It's just not registering with you.
I know.
You're incredibly stubborn. And a bit set in your ways and closed-minded. You're just not seeing it logically. I mean, like imagine if someone was like, yeah, I just I got this guy, he suffers from depression and anxiety. He was taking medicine that really helped him out. His doctor prescribed it for him. And I wanted to see how much he liked me. So I asked him to quit, and he did for 2 months. That would be like an insane thing for someone to do for someone, and he did it for you. And you want him to what? Try harder? Again, I'm being a little hard on you because I'm not getting through to like, I
know.
You're still like stuck on what you want him to do. And you're very much not willing to do your part. And for that reason, maybe you two aren't a match. But I think your biggest problem is you, not him.
Well, shit. Yeah, and like I said earlier, like maybe I'm not the right girl for him because
That's your conclusion? Wouldn't you rather figure your shit out?
Yeah, but I mean, there's probably a girl out there that it doesn't bother them at all. And
okay,
I don't know.
So
I mean, I do want to work on why did I let this thing end a otherwise good relationship. That's why I'm calling you guys.
Yeah, and I appreciate the call. I just wish you were actually willing to do it, because right now it's like you're trying to I don't know, like you're still trying to figure out how you can get him to stop smoking. You're just not seeing the big picture.
Yeah.
And also, like, you're not a love martyr, oh, maybe he'd be better off with some other girl. It's like, all right. Honestly, maybe he would, but I don't think that's going to make you feel any better, and it's not going to help your love life out. And I'm here to help you. You called in. I don't even know this guy, I want to see you happy. And I think you're making decisions in your life that it's stopping you from being happy. And I think that's a great reason to get into therapy. And maybe this guy isn't your guy. That's fine. But right now, you are making choices that are negatively affecting you.
A lot of my friends have told me that too. Like, they don't agree with the decision I made because they did like him.
If you decide to get into therapy, I think you should say you go in there with a very specific, like, I am very set in my ways. I have a hard time letting things go, and I'm incredibly stubborn. You clearly have a lot of great qualities that he likes in you and cares about you, and he wants to be with you. So you obviously have a lot of good things going for you too, but I want to see you not self-sabotage, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. Yep. I feel like that's what I'm doing.
All right. Well, I hope you look into that.
Yep. I need some therapy. Maybe I need to smoke a little more. I don't know.
Give him a call.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Well, please keep us posted. I'd love to know what you two lovebirds are up to in a couple months.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the tough love. And
I'm here for it, but just remember, I don't think you're fully appreciating what this guy was willing to do for you.
Well, thank you.
All right. Take care. Keep us posted.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.